ball, and Fox comes away. So we're at 2-2 in the draw controls, which is significant because the last time these teams played and Fox was not in that game, Bowdoin led in draw controls 21-9. Here's Fox scoring for Amherst in front, Hannah Fox. So they win the draw, they get it upfield, and Fox scores in front, and it's 3.
Bates back in the lead at 11-9. Amherst has not led yet this game. Shipley. Fox, nice crossover move, steps into a 3, and Amherst has the lead.
All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of The Last I Heard. As you know, we've been getting into doing student interviews, and this week we're going to start doing some alumni interviews. A recent alumni has joined me on the program today. I feel like I should be doing your intro in the Frack Gymnasium or something like that, Hannah, but we'll settle for class of 2020 member of the women's basketball team and the women's lacrosse team. Hannah Fox, welcome to the program. How's everything going?
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having all of these series. I know a lot of current and future and then previous student athletes are enjoying and appreciating this, especially with the time of no sports. So I think it's been helpful that you've been doing this for everyone. So thank you for that. And then thank you for having me. It's an honor. I'm glad I get to help share some stories, provide some insight and whatnot. So I'm excited to be here and do this interview. I wish we were in Lafrac. A lot of good memories there, but this will settle for now.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Pretty well.
Good. I mean, one of the big things we wanted to do is kind of give prospective students a little bit of a taste, and the people who really haven't got to experience Amherst sports at all, the freshmen. So that's what we're attempting to do with this series, and I'm glad that we could have you on. Can you give the people a little update on what's going on, where you're at, what the job situation's like, everything like that?
So for about the past 6 months now, I've been working for TD Securities and based out of New York City. I was an intern there the previous summer, being of 2019. Mm-hmm. And so I know some people already, and that made the transition a little easier. Yeah. But there's a lot to learn and really grow into being from a student to an employee. But I think being a student athlete at Amherst, whether it be from the academics and using my math and econ background or from athletics and taking those team building skills, taking that to the working world has been helpful. Yeah. Definitely different than being at school, but it was a relatively smooth transition given the rest of what's going on right now. So it's been going well. Good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And do you have a plan to move to the city once kind of things are safe?
Yeah, I was planning on moving to the city earlier on, and then we were told we were going to be virtual for a fair amount of time. And so those plans went a little, they're delayed for now. You know, a lot of people, previous Amherst basketball people in particular, and lacrosse members as well, along with just other students, have left the city temporarily. But once everything's back to normal, it'll be a fun place to get back to and really live there. So it'll be when that time comes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we crossed paths there a couple summers ago when we were working internships. Do you like the city, I guess, is the question. Are you excited to post up there for a couple years, start your career?
I'm excited because it's something new and different that I'm really not used to. Yeah. So it's not much like the town and the Amherst community. It's quite different. So I think having that change of pace will just provide a little bit different insights and
Yeah.
get a completely different experience in that sense. So I'm excited, but I can't say I know too much about the city itself. So I have a lot to figure out.
All right. Well, I mean, basketball season is upon us. The NBA is going to restart after a short off season here in a couple weeks. College basketball at the Division I level is going. So I do have some questions about your basketball career and your time playing at Amherst. First one is maybe a little bit of a hard question, but what do you miss most about being on the Amherst basketball team, the vibes in Lafrac Gymnasium? I mean, we're probably 10 months removed now from when you last played. So what are you missing most?
Well, the easy answer would be really everything, but
Yeah.
specifically the game days in Lafrac. So
Mhm.
getting to spend essentially the entire day with my team, which was essentially a family, so like a
Yeah.
second family, and starting with scouting report, film, shoot around, pregame meal,
Mhm.
the game itself, which was of course the most fun.
Yeah.
And even afterwards, just going over how the game went and excited about the big win we just had, or
Yeah.
and how the game went. So getting to share those moments, those memories, those games with my teammates,
Yeah.
I'd say that is definitely what I miss the most. And then playing in Lafrac itself is such a special experience.
Yeah.
The environment's just really unique in the most positive way. So with our fan base, just with family, friends, faculty, staff, Amherst community members, all supporting us, cheering us on,
Yeah.
getting there early, watching our warm-up, staying after to talk to us after the games,
Mhm.
vocally, visibly cheering us on, posters, costumes,
Yeah.
just everything. So that's definitely, I'm very fortunate. I got to have a fair share of games in Lafrac. So
Yeah.
that's definitely an experience that I miss a lot.
Yeah. Over 4 years, there's a lot to look fondly on, even from me getting to sit in the front row and watch. It is kind of unique, this kind of weird mixture between like a high school gym and a low level college, super intimate. I always kind of think of it like a black box theater a little bit in the Frac Gymnasium.
Yeah,
Um,
all of the wood with the wooden
yeah.
bleachers. I mean, well, this past season, as you know, with the more electronic, modern scoreboard
Yep.
with the video screen
Yeah.
and the new score table. So a little a
Little
little
update.
addition with that.
Yeah.
But
What'd you think of the video board?
I thought it was cool. It was
Yeah.
fun that we actually used it when they called out the starting lineups.
Yep.
Had our a little video, a little clip of us, and then on top of that, like if we hit a three or if there was a big block or something like that, having that, it was a good touch. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. A little update in the Frac Gymnasium. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So as some may know, maybe not everybody, you were a two-time national champion with the women's basketball team in your career at Amherst. I'm sure we could go on this topic for a very long time, but I'll ask simply, what is it like to play at the highest level of Division III women's basketball? And what do you think was so special about those teams that got you kind of to the peak, so to say?
Oh, well, playing in the national championship game is so great. Just playing under the spotlight. And it took a lot of work leading up to that. Whether it be the first game of the season, non-conference, in
Yeah.
conference, post-game playoffs, etc. All of it was a good experience leading up the way. I would say it was pretty simply stated, we were the best team in the country both of those years. And the thing is, the best team doesn't always win.
Yeah.
So it's not because we won the national championship, we were the best team. We were the best team and we won the national championship.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, besides that, we still had to put in all the work. We prepared a lot for
Yeah.
each and every game, no matter who it was we were playing. And because of that, other teams knew that, all right, we are coming and we're playing Amherst College, whether it be home or away, neutral
Yeah.
site. And it was their game of the season. They wanted to play us. It was like a mini championship game.
Yeah.
So getting to play in those mini championship games the entire season, that's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
And defensively, we're a defensive oriented team.
Yep.
We're hard to score on.
Yeah.
And so we always had mini goals within the bigger goal of winning the game. We wanted to win the game the right way, not because we got some good calls and just a couple things went our way. We wanted to play our best basketball no matter what.
Yeah.
And offensively, we would consistently have some good plays set up, executed them well, hit big shots. So, I mean, like I said, all the mini championships, but nothing really compares to that last game of the season, winning it all.
Yeah.
Always. That could be its own series.
Yeah. Always an X on your back when Amherst walks into the gym, no matter what. I guess also it's weird to think about that the NESCAC was so good when you were playing at Amherst and you played Tufts in at least one national championship game, right? What was it like to kind of, I mean, you think of the national championship and it's like, oh, this opponent could be anywhere across the country. Shocker, actually, it's Tufts. We played them already 3-4 times this year. What was that like? Yeah,
it's funny because we flew to Michigan my freshman year and played Tufts in the national championship game. And then my sophomore year, we flew to Minnesota and we played Bowdoin in the national championship game, which is funny since it really shows, for one, the NESCAC is for the top conference for women's basketball in Division III. And then, but yeah, it was funny since Tufts and us are in the same state, and we actually got chartered to that Final Four. So we had our own plane.
Wow.
Funny, and we had played Tufts earlier in the season, and it was a great game. Low scoring, really low scoring.
I remember, that's the one I remember watching on the live stream. Very low scoring, but as you said, defensive oriented.
Exactly. So we treated it just like it would have been any opponent, in the sense that we had the same mindset, but having that extra aspect. Well, we're familiar with this team. We've seen them in person. We've prepared for them more than once. And so we knew some of their plays. We knew some of their habits for individual players. So it gave us an edge on that sense. But then likewise, Tufts probably knew the same about us. I don't know how or what they did to prepare, but I'm sure they had a couple things that they were able to use as well.
Yeah, a couple things up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Is there one specific game or one specific moment that you look back on most fondly?
So I'm going to give you two answers. One, because it was the main answer and the real answer for the number one game is the 2018 national championship.
Okay.
But since we've talked about that, I'll give a second one in a little. That one, we were playing Bowdoin.
Yeah.
After the first quarter, it was tied 8-8, and which is low scoring, 10-minute quarters. And then the game was pretty close. We were leading, I'd say, a good majority of the game, but being a really tight spread. And then we started, it was about midway through the third quarter. We held Bowdoin without scoring for almost 10 minutes or so. And then from there, we started just to increase our lead. We ended up we won by 20 points. So
I remember the flow of that game. Yeah.
And just as it neared the end, like the excitement kept building, like we were getting closer and closer and closer to our goal. And then next thing you know, the buzzer goes off, the confetti comes down, and that was that. So that was definitely my favorite. But just to give a regular season game answer, Coach Grumacki scheduled a home game for me, so a game in the Philadelphia area. Yeah. Because wanted to take me home so I could have some friends and family
Had a game.
to actually get to see in person.
Yeah.
Since most of the games weren't too close. And so we played Widener. And before the game, we had our pregame meal at my house, which was a lot of fun. So people got to see where I grew up. And then once we got to the game, I had over 100 family and friends. And I'm thinking Widener's probably really confused. Their gym, nice and big, was packed.
Yeah.
Whether it be, we outnumbered their fans for sure. And then getting to play. And so, I mean, all the people I grew up with know how important basketball was to me growing up, and it is still for me now. So, and seeing how and what Amherst basketball really was in person was a lot of fun. So I'm glad he was able to schedule that. So that was definitely a memorable game.
All right, my last question on the basketball front, which is maybe something that I can speak to as well. But one of the last things to happen before you and I left campus in the spring was your guys' NCAA tournament games. And it happened in an empty Lafrac gymnasium. What was that experience like, finding out literally like 2 hours before the game that there was going to be no fans, and kind of playing these very important games in a situation where you didn't really know what the future was going to hold in your last year of college basketball?
It was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
From the start. So we were at shoot around when we found out.
Yeah.
And at that point, Coach Gramacki and the other coaches they weren't in the gym the entire time. They were going out and back and forth. And I looked over to one of my teammates. I was like, we were thinking, like, what's going on? Like, what happened to the other team? Or like, are the refs here? Or like, there has to be something going on.
Yeah.
Like, and we did not think that was the reason. Like, is there a compliance thing? Or like, did we break a rule? Or did the other team break a rule? Like, without knowing, like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then he brought Coach Gramacki brought us in, like he always does, and told us. So just hours before the game, we were told no fans, which was disappointing. Yeah, because we had a lot of great fans, as I mentioned, who were loyal supporters just throughout the entire season and even just throughout the years. And so they were all excited to come and support us, and to tell them that they can't actually watch in person was disappointing. We knew, though, that they'd be streaming it and making the most out of the situation, and we didn't change our goals. We still wanted to play as we would have played, win, and execute everything as planned. The one thing that we did mention was to make our own noise, make our own excitement and fans. So I think we did a good job.
Yeah, you did.
Empty. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we were just happy the game was going on as planned. We got a host. It was nice knowing that the work we put in during the regular season led us to a home game. Yeah. So even though we didn't get the full home court advantage, we still got part of it. And so we made the most of it, and it was fun. Yeah. It was definitely a unique experience. Not many people can say they've done that. So
one I'll definitely never forget, having to be there announcing the game to an empty Lafrac gymnasium. But and the next weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, the teams in the what would have been the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 flew to Amherst, and then we're told that the games are going to be canceled. Is that right? Is that how it went down?
Yeah, that's correct. And they actually practiced in the gym. They had already.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
We're the only team that hadn't practiced yet. We had the last time slot. Wow. And we got called to go to the locker room a little bit earlier than we were planning. Yeah. And that was when we were told the information that the NCAA tournament was canceled and all that bad news. But the other teams had already practiced, and it was really unfortunate situation. Yeah. I thought, I mean,
you didn't get to finish out your senior year.
Already there. They already touched the basketballs. They were in the gym. I was like, we can play.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could have made that the Final Four and just played it out and named a national championship in the FRAC.
Yeah.
That would have been poetic.
That would have been fun. Yeah. Better than the outcome that happened. But there was a lot of disappointment, from all of the teams. And I was at the point where I was like, well, I thought we were going to finish. So the lacrosse season had already been canceled at that point.
Yeah.
It was really disappointing. And, but I was like, well, we're going to finish the basketball season. We're so close. Like, all the teams are going to be at the same facility. They could fly us there early,
Yeah.
move the games up. There's so many options. I was like, it's going to be fine. But
Almost like a mini bubble.
yeah,
Yeah.
which would have worked,
Would have
but
worked.
didn't happen, unfortunately. And it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the lacrosse side of things now. Is there a game lacrosse-wise that you remember most fondly?
So unfortunately, I didn't get to play in all of the games since there was that overlap with
Yeah,
basketball.
which is my next question, yeah.
But for the lacrosse games, we had a lot of good, exciting ones. One I'll point to was when we played Wesleyan in the Sweet 16 my
Okay.
sophomore year.
Okay.
And so that was taking place at Gettysburg. And that was actually the first time I played in my home state by chance, since it's in Pennsylvania. But regardless, that game was a lot of fun. So we got to play a conference team and a Little 3 team during the playoffs. And so we had already played them before. And really, it was a lot of preparation going into it, a lot of that excitement from playoffs, the excitement from the rivalry.
Yeah.
And we really executed well, offensively, defensively, in transition. And what made that even more special was from the first whistle to the last, we just had a great time. It was a great day to play lacrosse, and it was the weekend of the graduation for that senior class. So it was a pivotal time, and we had players who skipped graduation to stay with us for that entire weekend. And I mean, that was a point where I was like, well, I'm not going to my graduation. I'm definitely playing lacrosse. We're playing lacrosse no matter what. So so that at that point it was kind of where you realize that the team and then the sport, you put so much time and effort and you have so many great memories with your teammates. Well, you're going to miss big events for your team, such as missing a graduation weekend, missing just big events, because this is what's important. And I mean, lacrosse and basketball were huge parts of my Amherst College experience.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a pivotal weekend. And then in terms of which game I'm going to choose, the Wesleyan was just a fantastic game to be a part of.
Yeah. And what was it like to transition straight from basketball, as you guys were normally making postseason runs, which ran into the beginning of the lacrosse season? Was that, I mean, difficult is the easy word. What was that kind of transition in late March, like early April sometimes? So
my freshman year, I'd say would be the most difficult. And that's because I didn't know the people on the team.
Yeah.
And so I went out to practice. Meanwhile, I don't really know anyone.
Yeah.
And this first drill we're doing is like the ball, like there's 4 balls going at the same time in the direction of an X, and then around a square, and all over the place. And like part of it's just to warm up stick skills, and the other part is just to communicate with your teammates and get that going. And meanwhile, I don't know people's names. And I'm on this field, and I just picked up a lacrosse stick. I'd been playing basketball, so I hadn't had my lacrosse stick, so I have no idea what's going on. But regardless of that first, because that was the first drill we did, everyone was extremely welcoming and supportive. So it was cold. It was really cold out. And I didn't have any of the gear because I only had basketball gear at that point. Yeah. And I had teammates who didn't really know me giving me sweatshirts, sweatpants, just extra layers, making sure I was comfortable, making sure I felt welcomed. Yeah. The coaching staff and the players were all introducing themselves, just making extra time to make me feel welcomed and appreciated. So they definitely helped with the transition. Yeah. And then sophomore and junior year, I'd say it was more seamless in that, all right, I knew once basketball ended, I'm going to lacrosse,
Yeah.
pick up the stick and go play.
Go
And
play.
it was that. And then, well, senior year, I'd say that transition got wiped out, but I think it would have been seamless in that sense.
Yeah. And one thing you can say is that your lacrosse teammates were always the loudest fans at the basketball games.
Oh, they were the best fans. I mean, between just them cheering like myself and the basketball team on, and then also they had posters.
Yep.
They
I
had
was gonna say.
heads of my face. They had they painted their stomachs with my name. They had T-shirts that had my name on it. They were fantastic fans, and I mean that just speaks to who they are as people, as teammates, friends, and just like that's Amherst Athletics. You're gonna cheer everyone on, and they were definitely my biggest supporters out there. So
Yep, for sure.
I always appreciated that.
Yeah. I mean, they always made it very fun to watch you play because they were going berserk in the background whenever.
Yeah,
Usually when you were scoring a lot of points or something like that.
yeah, they were exciting. They were excited for me and the team. They made it known. So their presence was appreciated and definitely known by our team. So
Yeah, for
good.
sure. All right. The last question sort of on the basketball lacrosse conversation is obviously I could list the accolades you received as an athlete at Amherst for probably 15 minutes, from All-America teams to Scholar Athlete Awards to everything, but I want to point to one award in specific. You were Amherst's NCAA Woman of the Year nominee last year. What does it mean to kind of represent the athletic department in that way, represent both programs as a two-sport student athlete, kind of just give you the floor? What did that recognition mean to you?
I really appreciated getting recognized for that because I know I put my heart and soul into both of those teams, and the amount of time and effort I just put in the team in terms of getting better, helping the team get better, and just really putting us and helping us put us on a path to success, doing what I could. Just knowing that my coaches recognize that and my teammates recognize that, the athletic department. I spent hours and hours in the gym and on the field. I mean, the gym was like a second home, and I was able to meet other coaches and members of the athletic department because I was there so often.
Yeah.
And just knowing that I'd get to practice early for lacrosse, I'd take trick shots before and after. It's like, it was fun.
Yeah.
Playing the sports with my teammates, it was fun, and which made it, I wanted to practice. I wanted to get better. I wanted to really just make Amherst Athletics as great as I could with the teams that I was on. And knowing that that my coaches and then the athletic department wanted to take and really just show that some of what I've done is what they want to be representative of Amherst Athletics was meaningful, in that I was doing the right thing for them. I was helping them out. I mean, I thought Amherst was a great fit for me in terms of school and sports, and it showed that Amherst thought I was as well.
Yeah.
So it went both ways, and I mean, it was I was appreciative, and I was happy that it was recognized. So it was a nice honor.
We'll go on to the rapid fire round. My personal favorite. I've got 6 questions this time for you. I'm not sure if you've watched any of the previous rapid fire rounds, but quick answers to my stupid questions. So here we go. If you had to create a Mount Rushmore of Amherst restaurants, the classic first question, what would be on there?
So, see, my answers are definitely not going to be as rapid as your previous ones, but I'll give you them. I have to include Pasta y Bassa because even though it's not necessarily my favorite restaurant, I enjoyed it, but we had a lot of basketball pregame meals there. So all the memories with that, we had the same meal every time: bread, salad, chicken, pasta, and vegetables with that. So
good eats.
that has to be one of them.
Yeah.
The most memorable. And then I know my teammates would all be upset if I didn't say Johnny's.
Okay.
Everyone loves Johnny's on my team, so have to give them that.
Yeah.
I know for when I visited Amherst, my family, we went to Judy's. So
Yeah.
although I can't say it's my favorite,
Yeah.
but I'd say that was also just notable since kind of started us off. So
Yeah.
those three all had those in particular reasons. I didn't really leave campus too much to eat. I mean,
Yeah.
I only went to restaurants with my teammates, and my parents were at all of the games. And
Yep.
so they would take me to different places, but I'm not a picky eater, so I kind of happy wherever to eat.
Those are the three for you. Yeah. I mean,
Those stick out.
You'll have to thank your father for me, because he definitely over the years smuggled some pretzels to me at halftime. So I always appreciated that.
Yeah, the Philly pretzels.
Yeah. I mean,
Can't
that was,
that.
especially during interterm or, long days, that was always something pretzel at halftime. That was always something I look forward to. So, all right, second one here. This is one I always like to ask because the answers are pretty unique sometimes. The biggest hidden gem in the Pioneer Valley, whether it's a hike or a restaurant or an attraction or something. What do you got?
So, like I mentioned, I don't really leave Amherst College's campus too much,
Yeah.
just because I was happy there, had
Yeah.
everything I needed. And so I can't say Lafrac Gymnasium or Pratt Field because they're not hidden gems. They're obvious gems.
Yeah.
But I'm going to actually say a place that's on campus. It's the Greenway pool tables. And
Ooh.
so junior year, a couple of my friends and I, we lived there and hadn't really used them before then, but then we started using them all the time. And then once interterm came,
Yeah.
as you know, not too much going on around campus.
No.
Basketball team, we'd play a lot, and sometimes we'd watch the Eagles game while we were playing.
There you go.
So I was the only Eagles fan I had. My teammates supported me anyway, but I'd say the pool table.
Yeah. Did you watch yesterday's game, Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, that was his first start. It'll be interesting. I read one thing saying he's starting next week. I read
Yeah.
something else saying it's undecided. So,
I
but
think he probably deserves.
for us.
Yeah, that was an exciting game. Big win. All right, your favorite class at Amherst?
I have to give it to the math department.
Yeah.
And it's because besides, I majored in math
Yeah.
and economics, but for the math department, all of the classes were so great because the professors were just engaging. They made the classes just fun to be at.
Mm-hmm.
Office hours. I went to as many office hours as was feasible based on my schedule. And I
Yeah.
would just go there and the professors, they would, after we finished discussing the questions pertaining to the class, so about math, they would ask about how basketball is going and lacrosse is going. And then they would be at the basketball and lacrosse games. And they'd stay afterwards as well to talk to my family.
Yeah.
And it just showed how much they cared about us as students, and then also as people. They really cared about just everything in our lives. So
Yeah.
they made math classes fun to be a part. So I can't play favorites because they were all so great.
Yeah. All right, your favorite meal at Val?
So it would be ravioli, which would be
Okay.
Thursday lunch.
Yep.
Every third Thursday lunch. It was my favorite.
Yeah.
And Scott, who worked at Val,
Yeah.
sometimes depending on my class schedule, the line would be really long. He knew what I wanted. Skipped the line. He was fantastic.
Wow.
Have it ready for me. Treated
Wow.
me well. So, I mean, him, but then even the entire Val staff, they were great.
Yeah.
They were also big supporters of our basketball team. They'd go to
Mhm.
games, they'd stream them on the computer at Val, and
Yeah.
always cheer us on, wish us luck, congratulate us. So, yeah, that was definitely my favorite meal.
Yeah. The perks of being Hannah Fox, a little preferred service at Val. That's I didn't know that. It's a little bit of a secret.
Oh, I have so many Val memories that could
Yeah.
that could be another podcast series for you.
Well, maybe we'll just launch a series of episodes with Hannah Fox and we'll knock it out. All right. Favorite Coach Gramacki moment? If you had to pick one.
It would definitely be right after I scored my 1,000th point, Coach Gramacki called a timeout.
Yeah.
And he does not waste timeouts. He's very structured and strategic on when he calls his timeouts, and none go to waste.
Yeah.
But the fact that he took a timeout just so people could celebrate and recognize my 1,000th point was really meaningful, since I know that especially since I know he doesn't waste timeouts, and he wasted one for me just simply to celebrate that. It meant a lot. So I appreciated that. And so that would be the most memorable.
Yeah. I don't think it's a waste to do a little celebration. I got to read a little sentence. Hannah Fox has just scored her 1,000th point. It was a great moment. And obviously Maddie got that too. Same treatment. So
yeah, we had he definitely gave us the recognition,
a little spotlight
when it happened, and we all appreciated that. So it was nice.
Yeah. It's a good moment. All right, your last one. Maybe it's the chartered plane, but the best trip you took as a part of the women's basketball or lacrosse team.
So it's going to be would have to be to the national championship, to the Final Four tournaments. Both of them were great.
Yeah.
But we talked about that, so I need to mention another basketball trip that was, I really enjoyed. So we would do this trip to Las Vegas in California, and it was a combined trip. Yeah. And we'd play 4 games in 5 or 6 days. And if I had a choice, I'd play a game every day. I'd have multiple games on each day. And each one of my teammates and coaches, they'll confirm that. And so just having all those games in a compact amount of time was so much fun.
Yeah.
But then also, it's like on one of the plane rides, like a few of us teammates, we decided to stream the same movie at the same time, even though we had our own screen. So we'd have that experience.
Yeah.
We got to Las Vegas. The gym, which was a big stadium, was the same building as the hotel. And also at the buffet. It was also a casino, but don't worry, we didn't gamble.
That would be an NCAA violation, Hannah. We can't have any of that.
We were careful. But it was, arguably the best winter tournament to be at. It was the DIII Hoops Classic. There was men's and women's teams from across the country. So getting to fly over there, be part of the many games that were going on was a lot of fun. And then we would take the bus, go over to California. We got to see a Lakers-Kings game, which was fun. We got to just tour around and experience that. On our flight back one year, we got snowed out in Colorado.
Wow.
Which was a surprise. So we toured around Red Rocks, which was fun. It's trips like that where it's like you're going to remember, besides all of the memorable games, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
I'll have to mention for lacrosse, that trip to Gettysburg, that was a memorable one. I know freshman year, one of the funny ones was how we had a lot of trips to Middlebury throughout the years. We would always go across there. And freshman year, I somehow convinced everyone on the team to walk to get McFlurries for dessert outside of the game. So it's a lot of fun memories, just the games and all the excitement on the bus, people singing and whatnot. Makes it a good experience.
Yeah. That was kind of a leading question to get you to talk about the Vegas trip. So I do believe you have some record at the D3 Hoops Classic, right? Is it most career points in D3 Hoops Classic history?
Yeah, it was most points, and then for one game, and then also in total for the whole tournament. You
have 43 against Westfield State?
Yeah. My junior year.
Yeah. I remember being at one of your practices as someone who just had to run up and down the court pressing you guys for the last half of practice because that's how they played.
That was a fun style. We were constantly moving and up and down the court, which is, we usually play less like Westfield State, but given our team, we can adjust to other teams, and
Yeah.
we took that approach, and it worked out. We won.
Yeah.
We had
Score
fun.
43 points. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
happened along the way, but yeah, it was a fun game for sure.
Yeah.
Even the year before, we actually had a game versus Trine. So my sophomore year,
Hmm.
and we were both within the top 10 for rankings. We
Hmm.
were both undefeated at that point.
Mm.
So it was a huge game, and that one went down to the wire. Um, they had great players, and that we shut down, and we really executed, and that was definitely one of the most exciting games that we've had as well. So just in general, between we played in Vegas for 3 years. All those games they were all fun and exciting. It was a great tournament.
Yeah. Good memories. All right. That brings us to the close of the rapid fire round. As always, you win nothing, but thank you for playing. All right, this is my last question that I have, and it's kind of open-ended a little bit. Just want to give you the floor. As a young alumnus now, you've had, we'll call it 4 years, 3.6 years of experience at Amherst College and Amherst Athletics. I guess my question is, and it's two-parter, what would you say are kind of the core values of Amherst Athletics? And then secondly, where do you think we have the biggest room to improve given your 4 years of experiences and scrutiny, for lack of a better term, that you got to kind of live through?
So I think to best explain Amherst and Amherst Athletics core values, I'll illustrate some examples and sum that up. So like we mentioned, the lacrosse team, they're fantastic support at my basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball team would stand in the freezing cold at the lacrosse games,
Yeah.
and that support. For one of our games for basketball in California, I had a teammate, this is really representative. So I got scratched somehow on my hand, and turned out there was a lot of blood, and the opponents were about to shoot foul shots at this point. It was a 3-point game, so it was very close towards the end of the game. And meanwhile, can't play with blood on you or your clothes. So I ran over to the bench for the trainer to wipe the blood off, and it turns out it was all on my shorts as well. And without asking and without even hesitation, one of my teammates got up, gave me her shorts since they were busy getting the blood off my hand, and so I could stay in and keep playing. So just that really spoke to really large volumes how we really have each other's back, and what we would do for our teammates. And that was her first instinct. No one thought of it. No one said anything. There's no hesitation. She got up, gave me her shorts, and that was really something special. And I think that's representative of Amherst sports. On the lacrosse field, we were at Middlebury, and my tooth got knocked out and broken into pieces.
Oh my God.
And meanwhile, I was not thrilled, as you can imagine. But my teammates were looking around the turf trying to collect the little pieces to make sure I had them all. And I had a teammate holding the multiple pieces of my tooth, running it over to the sideline to give to the trainer to put in a bag to have it after.
Wow.
And it's like things like that
is
what it's like to be part of an Amherst team. And at the same time, for basketball and lacrosse, being the top conferences for Division III, competing at that highest level. So knowing that we're going into each and every practice, knowing we got to put in the work so we're better, so our team will win, so we'll win every game, so we'll win it all. And so having that competitive mentality, but also backing up your teammates and connecting that all together, I'd say are some of the many values.
Yeah.
And then now to touch upon the second part for what we need to work on. And this is across the board for Division III, all the teams and the schools, but we need to start and make the impact by stopping the misconception that for D3 sports, it's less of a commitment, because if you think about it, the outcome, if you want a successful outcome, the outcome is going to be a function of what you put into it. You put a lot of effort and time, and you're prepared and you execute, you're ready. What you put in will show you what's going to come out of it. If you want successful teams, which we do at Amherst, we got to put in the work. With that being said, you have people who want to succeed and want to win championships. You have those teams, and those teams want to do that. So, and we know that, but when we say, well, it's not as much of a commitment because D3, it's giving the wrong message. Whereas we all know when we're part of it, all right, we do whatever it takes to win. So, I mean, I'd go and I'd have teammates. It would be considered an off day, and I'd be in the gym shooting. We could have won the game by 20 points the day before. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Going to the lacrosse field before, or staying after, going before, just getting extra work in, it makes a difference. So knowing that anyone can put the minimum amount of work in, regardless of what sport, regardless of what division, that's a choice, and that'll be shown in the outcome of the season.
Yeah.
We all want to win, so we're all going to put the work in. So I'd say to change that misconception that it's less of a commitment, and really show that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
We work hard at Amherst College, whether it's in the classroom, on the basketball court, on the playing field, wherever it is, and success comes because of that.
Yeah, that's well said. And I think maybe you're built a little different, Hannah Fox. First one to enter the gym, last one to leave. But if I had won by 25 the day before, I maybe would have slept in a little bit the next day and not put up as many shots. But all right, that's all I got for you. I appreciate you coming on and having the conversation here. It was nice to catch up, reminisce a little bit about college basketball and college lacrosse and everything else. So I hope you have a very happy holidays. I hope your family is safe and healthy. And as we said, the only way is through. So thank you for coming on, Hannah. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And well, like I said before at the beginning, thanks for what you do for the athletic department. And then
Thank you.
Hey, for the women's basketball team too, you had a huge impact. So thanks for that, of course. And yeah, stay well, stay safe, and enjoy the holiday season.
Yeah, you too. All right, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you.